Hello students, this is a class for BA part first, and we will be discussing the character sketch of Shylock today uh, under the heading of Merchant of Venice. Shylock is one of the major characters in the play. We can say the character of Shylock is one upon which Shakespeare has bestowed a good deal of care and attention in making it a strong complex character. There are some glaring defects in the Shylock's character. For example, strong, revengeful nature, communal hatred for Christianity, mean, selfishness, and greed for money, and pretension to friendliness, but he is not actually a friend, we all know. Strong avarice, hypocrisy, slyness. Slyness means cunningness and monstrous inhumanity. But to consider him as completely a villain and there is no trace of nobility in him is to misread his real character and to misunderstand Shakespeare's genius. A critic, Nicole, very aptly observes that as it is seen in Merchant of Venice, we feel for Shylock definite sympathy even while we condemn his actions. What he wants to communicate is that even when we condemn or criticize his actions, still Shakespeare is successful in creating some sympathy for him ultimately. We can summarize his character under the following uh, major headings, like first of all, we are attracted towards his intellect. Nobody except Portia in the whole play can match Shylock in intellect. Portia also could outwit him with the guidance of Mr. Bellario, whereas we find Shylock defending his own case with confidence of victory and fits of joy without the help of any lawyer, without begging anybody else's favor. This indeed is a remarkable example of his sharp wit. His intellect shows itself as it is best undoubtedly at the trial scene, but no less at any other scene. For example, when we talk when we talk about trade relations, when he talks about trade relations and warnings to Jessica, his own daughter, and changing tones to pretend friendliness when he is talking to Antonio, his intelligence may be of a sly nature or a cunning nature, and like that of a very clever politician, or maybe it sounds of a shrewd businessman, yet it is a product of his ancestral sharp mind, as generally it is said about Jews. The next point on which we talk about his character is his sense of morality. Critics have painted Shylock as villain who is away from the sense of morality. They blame him to be the only person responsible to bring the tragedy in the trial scene, casting a thick gloom over a bright comedy. But no one can neglect the questions. Is it morally wrong to डू द ट्रेड ऑफ यूसरी, यानी ब्याज पे पैसा देना उस जमाने में बुरा हो सकता था, लेकिन इफ ही हैड चोजन दिस बिजनेस, कैन इट बी कॉल्ड रॉन्ग? इज इट बैड टू इवन टू अर्न मच मनी Yeah, more money by fair means. Has Shylock cheated or deceived anybody in the play? Has he been irreligious anywhere in the play? Has he robbed anybody just as his own daughter robbed him? There are many questions. Has he even abused Antonio or anybody in the play? Has or was he habitual of wine or gambling or women or any other vice? किसी और बुराई का शिकार था क्या वो? If not, we have no right to regard him morally degraded. Only one moral flaw that we can find in his character is his pretensions of friendliness to Antonio. It is his sense of morality that he could boldly express his hatred for Christians. He pursued the principles of his life, responsibilities of a father, and follows the Jewish religion very ardently. He boldly says in the open court to the Duke, देखिए आप, what judgment shall I dread doing no wrong? मैंने जब कोई गलत काम किया ही नहीं है तो मैं किस बात से डरूंगा? And he could speak to Antonio, Salerio, and others. Hath not a Jew eyes, hands, organs, and senses, and passions? I will buy with you, I will sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, but I will not eat or drink with you, nor pray with you. So, in this manner, we can say he has a sense of his own morality, and that morality comes from his being a Jew. Now, we can also talk about his communal feelings. Some critics blame Shylock that he insisted on the pound of flesh as forfeiture of the bond out of his communal hatred for Antonio. Some critics say कि उसने वो जो पाउंड ऑफ फ्लैश मांगा एंटोनियो से, इट वॉज बिकॉज ही hated him on the basis of religion. But it is not completely true. On the contrary, it is entirely out of his commercial rivalry and also out of his personal hatred and enmity that Shylock wants to take revenge upon Antonio. Why? Because Antonio had always been abusing Shylock and spurning him in the market by helping his clients without any interest. He was actually destroying his business and he called names to him in the open market. Yet, Shylock is a devout follower of his own religion. He is a Jew. He openly declares to Antonio and others that he will not dine with them or pray with them in the same church, or he will not forgive them because his tribe had to suffer a lot by their repressions. And now we will discuss his character on the point of his avarice. Avarice means greed. लालची बहुत है. The strongest passion in Shylock we notice is perhaps his avarice, or you can say greed for money, and his miserliness. His hatred for Christians is not even half so strong as his love for money. In the trial scene, Shylock refuses the offer of 10 times money or 20 times money of the original bond and demands only a pound of flesh. The hidden reason behind it was that it may remove Antonio forever from his world of money lending business. Again, we see that Shylock is more shocked on the loss of his precious jewels and money than the elopement of his daughter Jessica with Lorenzo. Now we talk about his revengeful spirit. Some of the critics believe that Shylock's revenge is stronger than his greed, while a few others establish his avarice is stronger. In my opinion, Shylock is both most strongly avaricious and revengeful according to the circumstances arise. There may be four causes at the back of Shylock's revengeful spirit. For example, his anti-Christian spirit, his the ill treatment that he received from Antonio, his rivalry from Antonio in money lending business, and finally Jessica's elopement with Lorenzo, who is a Christian. But it is true that his revenge reaches its climax in the trial scene when he is deaf to all the appeals for mercy and insists on getting nothing but a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, denying even the offer of 20 times more money than his actual money. We can also talk about his hypocrisy or duplicity. Shylock's hypocrisy or duplicity is inherited from his ancestors due to the long suppression of Jews by the Christians. His hypocrisy or duplicacy is visible when he utters Antonio a good man while he thinks him the worst man. On the face, he says he is a good man, he welcomes him, and in his, you can say, aside, or when he talks to himself, he calls him the worst man living in the Venice, in the city of Venice. Shylock talks him within himself about Antonio when he says, I hate him, but outwardly changes his malicious attitude and speaks in a very friendly tone, and he tries to trap Antonio कि how best he can get him in his grip to feed fast his ancient grudge against him. Again, in his last trick, he proposes to sign the bond in merry sport, while in trial scene he insists on the bond of flesh as the forfeiture of the bond. This is his slyness. For the quickness and fertility of intellect, Shylock is equally intelligent, clever, cunning, sly, and shrewd. He may apply every means to achieve his own selfish ends. He very well knows that only the fools spend money while the wise save money and enjoy at the expense of others. Shylock's shyness, slyness, cleverness, cunningness succeeded to get Antonio sign the bond, the fatal bond. But unfortunate he was that his slyness was outwitted by Portia and he was badly ruined in the end. We can also talk about his monstrous humanity, inhumanity. अमानवीय है वो और बिल्कुल शैतान जैसा है. His monstrous inhumanity. Wishing by a father his own daughter's death just for the sake of a few jewels and gold, insisting on a pound of flesh from Antonio's body instead of 20 times of the bond money, lead critics to call him inhuman and monster. But continual ill treatment and suffering at the hands of Antonio and other Christians without any money, without any mercy, is in this world of cutthroat competition to survive his inhumanity or cruelty or monstrosity cannot be fully supported. His suspicious nature is also a very important factor when we discuss his character. Shylock is the only character in the whole play who appears to be extremely suspicious. He suspects his daughter, Jessica. He suspects his servant Lancelot. He suspects Bassanio to accept invitation. He suspects Antonio would not sign the bond and thus suggests him to sign the bond in Mary's sport only. He suspects the Duke of partiality. He also suspects Portia in the very beginning. It was his misfortune that his suspicion turns out to be true in the case of his daughter Jessica and also when Portia outwits him in the trial scene. But we have to talk of his strong personality in the play. Despite poor physical personality, Shylock alone has really a backbone except Portia in the play. He struts like a proud, self confident peacock, fully confident of his victory against his enemy. He does not engage any lawyer to defend his case because he knows how to defend the wrong. He boldly answers the questions put by the court and says to the Duke that he has done no wrong. Only Portia ultimately outwits him. That too, not alone. She had to consult her uncle Dr. Bellario, the famous lawyer, for this defeat. Thus, we may conclude that Shylock is consistent throughout the play. This consistency is the strength of his personality, his bulldog's firmness, his singleness of purpose, his uncommon courage, his intellect, his sense of morality creates such powerful impression upon the audience that we feel he should have been the anti-hero of the play. But Shakespeare never makes any wicked character the hero of the plays. No doubt, if Portia is the beauty of the play, Shylock is the strength of the play. We can conclude. Thank you very much.